How are you doing? And this is Jondhi Harrell with the TCRC Community Podcast. And this is our Friday night edition. It's coming on slightly late. We usually come on at 8 o'clock. But what happened tonight is we had a tremendous meeting down at the Zion Baptist Church, which is right across the street. And we had, please stop that, Akira, we had a great meeting down at the Zion Baptist Church right across the street. And we had Helen Gim, and the mayor was over there, and Akira Gray, and Deanna Hoskins from Just Leadership. And we had a lot of folks from the community come out. And we had, brother, who's from Erie Avenue, came in and hijacked the proceedings and did some straight gangster shit, and that caused some problems, and he's a brother who I know who sees me every day, and he called me out, and y'all missed that. Y'all was in the back stealing all the donuts, so y'all didn't see that.
You gonna put us on the spot like that?
Yeah, put you on the spot like that. You was in the back, eat up all the donuts and the chicken tenders.
You can curse on.
Am I lying?
You curse on this show?
I can. I'm an adult.
No, I'm saying you curse on this show.
Yes, I curse on the show. It's my show, But if you curse on the show, then you might get an elbow and get knocked out the chair.
So what's something that your fans love about your podcast?
You'll get a chance to talk when you're in front of the screen. So we're doing a show this evening because this is the relationship show. So in the last couple of weeks, we've done relationships like mothers and sons. And we had the wonderful Cynthia Muse on, and she talked about her sons. Sister Cynthia has 5 sons, and one is in the penitentiary doing his 20th year on a 25-year sentence. The other one came home from the penitentiary. He's been home about 13, 14 years. He's doing pretty good. But our other 3 sons are all deceased, and they all died through gun violence. One was murdered, and they didn't. Why are you laughing when I'm talking about that? Stop looking in the camera cheesing. Just listen. If I'd known about granddaughters, I probably wouldn't have had kids. That's a joke. And her situation was very tragic. She lost 3 sons to gun violence, and she was on a show. She was on a show 2 weeks ago. Last week we did a show about relationships, and we asked a lot of questions. We had a lot of folks call in. It was a really, really good show, and the show was about male-female relationships. But tonight we're going to do a show about sisters and also mothers and daughters, because sometimes young Black women have a hard time being sisters, and loving each other and doing the things that sisters are supposed to do with each other. And other times, it's very difficult for the mothers and daughters to just be mothers and daughters. There's so many barriers to mothers and daughters. And I'm having a little, and is everyone able to hear me clearly? I'm having a little problem pulling you folks up. There we go. Hey, Ann, have a great show. I'm trying to have a great show. But it's been a serious, serious day. I spent a lot of the day over in New Jersey. I was getting a new car because I really needed a new car, and it takes forever to buy a car, especially when you're broke like me, So I got back here late, and then we had this amazing session across the street at Zion Baptist Church. But what I'm asking is, can everybody hear me clearly? So I'd really appreciate it if somebody just typed in, yes, we can hear you, or the sound's too low, or the sound's good adjusted. This is a very interactive show, so please be interactive. So as I was saying, tonight we're going to do sisters, and many times young Black women just don't seem to be good sisters. They don't love each other the way they should. They don't look out for each other the way they should. And sometimes they do. So we're going to explore the relationship between sisters. So right now I'd like to introduce this sister. Say your name, please.
I'm Amaja.
Say your entire name.
I'm Amaja Pittman.
And how many sisters do you have?
6.
6 sisters. Ranging in what age?
26 and down.
Well, give me ages. Say 26 is the oldest.
30, 19, 18, 15. Me, I'm 13. My younger sister, she's 11, and then I have Asha, she's 6.
So why did you give all the ages, but you only named Asha? Is she your favorite?
No,
Oh, okay.
she's just the youngest.
Okay, so you named the youngest. Okay. All right, well, we'll let you have that. So Shika says, yes, it sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Shika, and thank you, Malik. So we're talking about sisters. I just want to put you on your spot. Of all your sisters, and you don't have to say names, but are there some that you don't get along with like you would like to?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because
gotta speak up.
I lost a year of me like getting to know them more.
And how did you lose a year?
I moved away with my dad.
Okay, so you left your mom's house and you moved away with your dad.
Yes.
And one of the problems in Black families, especially in Black families where there are more than one father, is that the relationships and the dynamics in the family are different. And, perhaps the relationship that you have with your father is not the same relationship as some of your sisters, but you said that you lost a year. So what do you think happened in the year you were gone from your mother's house? I mean, in terms of your relationship with your sisters.
I think I changed.
You changed?
Yeah, because I
In what way?
I kind of turned on them because I didn't talk to them a lot when I was at my dad's house.
So
But I didn't ignore them either.
Well, it sounds like you ignored them.
I didn't talk. I
know you ignored me, and I got some feelings about that. But
I didn't take time.
This is not a show about pops and grandkids. So go ahead. It's about sisters.
I didn't take time to call them, and they always had to call me, and I never called them. And my sister, my younger sister, she just completely ignored them. So I didn't ignore them totally. I just knew.
So let me ask you this and try to answer it honestly. Was your ignoring them more a symptom of the conflict between your mother and your father, or the conflict between you and your sisters?
My mom and my dad.
Okay, so because your mother and your father were battling, that caused a situation where you felt like...
It was more because of my dad, because he didn't know where, he wanted to know where to live, my school name and stuff like that.
Okay, so he basically kind of took you out of their life and was trying to create another life for you that didn't include them.
Yeah, I guess.
And how did you feel about that? No, from your heart. Talk from your heart.
Sad or mad.
You wasn't sad?
Or happy. I don't know.
So you wasn't sad, you wasn't mad, and you wasn't happy?
No.
So what were you?
I don't know. There's not a word for
You sound like a Dr. Seuss book.
There's not a word for it.
There's not a word for when you're not sad or not mad or not happy?
Is there a word for it?
So you were like blah?
Neutral.
Oh, you were neutral in the battle between your parents?
Yeah.
Okay. But you weren't neutral in the feelings.
But it's my mom wanted me to choose her side. And if I chose her side, my dad would be like, you just choose her side because it is. And if I chose my dad, he'd be like, mom would be like, this, I had you for 11 years and stuff like that. So it would be like that. So I couldn't choose a side. And I didn't want to choose a side.
So what did you want to do? You wanted to be neutral?
I wanted to stay with my dad. This was the agreement. My dad said if I lived with him, I could go and see my mom anytime I want. Every other weekend, I can go see her.
But then he moved away. He didn't keep his word.
But he didn't keep his word even when we was living down in Ben Salem.
Closer.
Yeah, he didn't keep his word then.
So how do you feel about a parent not keeping their word?
I feel like anybody that doesn't keep their word is wrong, because if you tell somebody you're going to do something, you should do it.
Okay.
Like, don't tell somebody or promise somebody you can do something and don't do it.
So I think what happens is that sometimes kids have a expectation that grown-ups are going to do the right thing, or no, we're talking about expectations now. We're talking about grown-ups. We'll talk about your sisters in a minute. But you said, and I'm just repeating what you said, that your expectation was that your father was going to keep his word, and that he was going to allow you to see your mother and see your sisters whenever you want. That was your expectation.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously that didn't happen. That didn't happen where you kind of lost. You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do. I could just tell my dad that I wanted to leave. But I didn't. So I stayed.
Because you were living better than you lived before.
It's not that. It's like, I don't know
It wasn't
why.
that?
I don't know why.
Was it the nice hairdos and the iPhones and the going out to eat and the
I always
the
had
parks?
nice hairdos. And my dad, I don't have an iPhone now.
Yeah, but you did then.
Yeah.
You did then.
But it's not that I had an iPhone because I did not get anything I wanted. I asked for it when I was younger.
Okay.
My dad, he didn't keep his word a lot. He could say he'll take us out, and he'll say another time he'll take us out. But
Let's get away from your dad for a second, because this is really a show, like you said, it's about sisters. All right. So, what would you say to your sisters now, after being away from a year and going through what you went through? What would you say?
I think I'll say to them, I apologize because I didn't talk to them, and I didn't talk to them every day like I promised when I told them when I had the weekend.
When you told them you were going?
I didn't tell them I was going.
Oh, you just left without telling them?
I left, and I went with my dad, and then my dad told Mom the weekend, and my mom told me it was okay.
Hold on for a second. One of my viewers said the sound is going in and out. Is that what's happening? The sound's going in and out? Okay. Let me make sure that, the volume is good. Okay. Hopefully that'll be better. All right. And you got to speak up. You got a naturally soft voice, but you really got to speak up, so they can hear you. And here's our sound technician with no microphone on a Friday night.
I'm tired.
Okay. So are you saying, yes, you can hear me now?
Can
or the
you
sound's
hear me?
still going out? All right. Yo, go get him. Okay. All right. So where's the equipment? Listen, this is Friday night. Friday night, our biggest show of the night. And you don't show up.
I am tired.
So
wake up.
I'm supposed to tell my viewers that, you were tired and you didn't have a show.
I woke up with a dizzy head, tired. I didn't even drink anything. This morning, tired. Physically, mentally tired.
Let me get a picture. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that as we we can do. We're gonna go get the mics and stuff so we can finish the program.
You was wide awake to me.
Okay. So we heard from the little sister.
The phone go. Did you see the phone?
We heard from stop clowning. Remember when you didn't have an iPhone or Android?
All right. You don't
forgot
got to
that?
cover me, but he got old draggy.
I'm saying you forgot.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You forgot.
Come on.
Yes. You forgot when you had a flip phone?
I never had a flip phone ever. Play with me.
Yes, you
I
did.
did
Yes,
not
you did.
have a flip phone.
You had a flip phone.
I did not have a flip phone. Don't
Yes,
come
you
for
did.
me.
You had a flip phone. Sure you did. Here.
get paid for being on this podcast?
No, you don't get paid for doing this. Are you kidding me? You get paid for doing a podcast? No, you don't get paid. You're getting free publicity. That's how you get paid.
Somebody said, shh.
Please, our studio audience has to keep their voices down. Okay. So you kind of gave your point of view on what it means to be a sister, but how could you be a better sister?
I think I need to. I think I.
Yes, how you doing? Yo,
I think.
take it in another room, please.
I think I should.
It's a podcast. Go ahead.
I think I should listen more instead of just like popping off at them. Like, cause if they say something to me, and like I just straight just like just do what I want, basically.
Okay. Well, that's not a good look. It's definitely not a good look. So you need to be a better sister, you know, and you need to, I mean, in the same way that you felt your father didn't keep your word to you, I mean, understand that you didn't keep your word to your sisters.
Yeah, I know.
Because they were anticipating that in that family breakup, you know, no matter the dynamics between you, your mother, and your father, the love and the bond between sisters was not going to break up. All right, but
You need to get Shayla on this drawing. She broke.
listen, we're not talking about your other sister. We're talking about you.
All right, let me
You
stop.
know, you need to have responsibility for your own life. All right, and for what you did. All right, you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
So you posing in the camera or are you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay. So what would you say to your sisters if you had to do it all over again? Or
If
what?
I had to go back and do everything again, I wouldn't go.
You would just stay with your mother.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that have hurt your father's feelings?
No, because I called my dad.
Okay. But let me say this, all right? And this is important. So many kids today, especially young black kids, are caught between their mothers and their fathers and their relationships. And this show is about relationships. This show is about how families function. And in so many black families, we become dysfunctional when we do not live up to our responsibilities, when we do not say the things we're supposed to do, and we do not be honest with each other. And that's the reality. All right. That's not what I'm going to ask you to do is take your little niece into the playroom, and your sister's going to come and we're going to talk about her side of the story. All right. So take your phone and your little niece, take her in the other room altogether. You come sit in this chair. No, please take her in another room. Turn the TV on for her. Listen. Take her. Do that.
This is
Take her in
Giant.
another room.
My beautiful daughter. Say hi.
Okay.
You only have 2 views?
Take her in another room.
Come on.
Go.
I'm
Listen. This is a podcast. This is not a beauty show. This is a serious discussion on sisters. If we're doing relationships, and this is for the community, and so many times people do not look at families in the proper way. Now, what your sister said is that she chose her father over her mother, and she left y'all for a year. How did you feel about that? And you got to speak up so the sound is good.
Well, I felt
You have to speak up.
like this?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
A real voice.
Well, I felt kind of betrayed, but I
Okay.
understood at the same time, you know,
What did you understand?
of why she probably wanted to leave and just get away from everything. Because if I had the chance to do that, I probably would too.
All right, but that was between her and your mother and her father.
Yep.
All right. How did that affect you as a person?
As a person,
Because here's the important part. All right. Here's the important part of this. And this is what this part of the show is about. Parents and kids but the relationships between siblings that are affected by the relationships between their parents. Go.
Well, like, I wish she would have communicated with me more than just like she said, no one knew that she was leaving.
So just one day she just left.
Yeah, I was at work or wherever I was, and I got the call like, Margie and Shayla's not coming back home, like that type time.
Okay.
And it just was like it hit like the blind side. Like,
You got blindsided.
Yeah, like what you mean she leaving? Like I'm thinking like, okay, maybe just for the weekend, to get some air. But it was like a month later went past, another month.
So how long was it before you actually saw her again?
I want to say at least 7 months.
So she left, and it was 7 months before you saw her.
Yes.
How did you feel about that?
Confused. I didn't really get an input of what was going on. It wasn't right. No, we didn't have anyone in our family to, sit both of the parents down and say, this is what we're going to do. My mom's not the best person, and her father wasn't the best person.
But don't you think that the court, because the courts were involved, don't you think that they should have initiated some counseling or some interactions, not only between the parents, but between the children?
I mean, I wouldn't know. Like, they can ask us for our opinion, our statement, but it's not going to really hold up when somebody makes an allegation of like that, But we're not talking about the courts. We're talking about our relationship of siblings, because I didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah. Let's get back to that. So.
But I am the middle child, by the way. I am an 18-year-old.
Okay, so.
I have 4 over me and 4 under me.
But we're talking about sisters, because you have brothers over you too.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So, how are your relationships with your other sisters? Because this show is about sisters.
Yeah. With my other sisters, I want to say the relationships is like.
You got to raise your voice so the folks can hear you.
You guys can hear me?
No, you don't ask them can they hear you. If you raise your voice, I guarantee you they can hear you.
All right. Well, the relationship with me and my sisters are not really the best at all.
And why is that?
Why? Because people, especially African American females, we have a problem when someone's trying to tell us something or tell us about ourselves.
So black females have a problem being honest with each other?
I wouldn't say honest with each other, because when you're trying to be honest with another, it can be a friend, a sister. In this case, we're talking about sister. If I try to be honest with my older sister or younger sister, they're not trying to hear it. I'm just a little sister, or Carrie, you don't know what you're talking about. This, that, and the third. It's just like, if everyone just sometimes heard each other out and took heed and considered other people's feelings, the world will go round.
So, are you talking about factual things you're trying to tell them, or your opinion of things you're telling them?
Factual.
Because there's a difference.
Factual and feelings. Because when you're living in a household full of siblings, no matter how you dodge it, you're going to feel it just like the next person. Just like you don't believe Asha felt my sister leaving?
Oh, yes, I know she did. Because she's the youngest, and they were right over top of her.
Yep.
So they were her playmates. I mean, they were probably the biggest part of her life, more than you or Deja or your mother, because y'all are older. That's who she plays with. That's who she interacts with. So there was a big gap. Now it's her as the only little kid in the house. Of course, there's Jaya, but she's even younger.
Yep.
But for someone to teach her and to be with her and be her big sisters, they were just gone for a year. So that had to be very traumatic. And I don't think sometimes that parents, when they're going through their relationship problems, understands how much trauma there is for their children. And that's one of the reasons that we have the Healing Center. The TCRC Healing Center is to help to heal the traumas of Black families. That's not to say other families don't have traumas, and I'm sure they do. But most of those other families don't live in North Philly, and they aren't a part of our community. This is a community show, and we focus on what's going on in our community, and that's what we need to look at. So going back to relationships between sisters. So you and Amaji obviously had that, difference. Now that she's back home, how do you foresee things going?
Now that she's back home, I feel like I missed some time, but I feel like she has a fresh start of giving everybody a second chance, We can give her a second chance, so it shouldn't be no bad blood between anybody. But my biggest struggle that I have now is trying to plug into her head that, like, I'm your older sister and I will not steer you wrong. As long as you trust me and respect me, I'll set you far in life. I'm a good person. I have a great heart.
Explain
and
that.
I'm very smart.
Explain that. I mean,
for instance, I have a little sister that's
a sister
right above
in between,
her.
yeah.
That's
sister in between the two of y'all.
That's not really the best role model. So, like, I can't blame her for hanging with her because we're sisters. That's what we're going to do. But if you got me in your corner, that's the best thing could ever happen. So it's like, all I'm telling you is just be your own person at the end of the day. Like, of course,
so what you're saying
hung
is,
with people.
Don't be influenced by the things your sister is doing that you feel is not appropriate.
Yeah. Or just even like some things everybody's not going to be, part of a community that's like more of so like the statistic and things like, hey, this is what's going I know which road you're going down, I don't want nobody to say that to any of my sisters. Like, I know exactly who you're going to be in life because you don't. That girl back there, Amaja, she can be the first lady, the president, so that's what I'm really aiming for.
And one of the things that we're talking about
Ouch.
in this show is sisters and also the relationships between parents. So I'd like to ask you to please stop, posing in the camera.
I just love this show, guys. Don't you just love this show?
Yes, they do love the show, But instead of you voguing, kind of listen so you can give good answers.
All righty.
And then they may love the show, if you give some answers that, they can appreciate. You maybe forget the question with all that bullshit.
You said parents?
Yes. So anytime you talk about relationships between sisters and between the mothers and fathers, you have to talk about relationships between mothers and daughters. And that's always a kind of a touchy situation. All right. Why do you think that mothers and daughters, and especially Black mothers and daughters, seem to have so much conflict? And don't sugarcoat it.
Okay, well,
you have to speak up.
I want to say
you have a naturally
the
soft
reason
voice.
why, that like African American mothers and daughters have many conflicts in life because us teenagers as Black females, we're brought into like their business entirely too much. Like, one thing I learned about being a daughter to my mother is that some stuff that I know that I saw my mother struggle with, or just, just being an influencer, being surrounded by things, I would never expose my daughter to that because, like.
So you have a daughter that's, I was just on screen. She's a very cute little girl, so.
She's cute as for puppy. She's beautiful. Thank you.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
So.
You can never say enough good things to a mother about their kid. They always have to go over the top. That's why they're mothers. All right. So what would you say, looking at your daughter, that you wouldn't want to see in her life that you've had to experience as a daughter? And think about that question before you answer. That's a serious question.
I guess I would have to say the male figures in my mother's life.
Okay.
Because I feel like our youth or our kids under us, everything they see is taught to them. So, like, if they see you being treated this way, they'll think that's the correct way to treat a woman or a mother when it's not. So I've seen a lot of male figures throughout my life, which I would never want my daughter to, like, experience.
Let me ask you this: too many male figures?
Not so many of too many. More of so of like the type of demeanor they have, the type of lifestyle they're living, stuff like that.
Okay.
If they don't have like much going for themselves.
So are you saying that you've seen some male figures in your mother's life that you would have rather not seen.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to clarify that, for my listeners.
Because basically what you're saying is, if your mother allows you to see these things, because I know if it's something that I don't want my daughter to see, is the reason because it's not okay. You get what I'm saying? I don't want her to, so I should never see that because that's not okay. I'm very independent. I'm my own person to realize that that's not okay. I don't want to be treated, you know what I'm saying? Like most of us women that's Black are treated. So.
And what does that mean? You mean like in abusive relationships or in?
Not abusive, more of so these
Being
African
used?
American males want to live off us these type of days, and that's not what's going on.
Okay.
And I just never want my daughter to ever get comfortable with seeing different, people or no, not at all.
Well, one thing I will say that, I have, sisters and cousins. And one of the things that my sister Lynn, said, and I really appreciate it, was that no man could come around her daughter, like in the first year or two. They had to really establish a serious relationship, and that, she had to see that he was a serious person, and then she exposed her daughter to him because she was sure in her own mind that it was going to be an ongoing relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not being superly critical of Black women, but sometimes because there's a shortage of men and because good men are hard to find, sometimes women will settle for less than simply to have a man, and they'll expose their kids to situations that, as you said, being a kid, they would rather not see. I mean, is that basically what you're saying?
Yep. Because if you're going to have these bad habits, at least have them to yourself. I always want to show my daughter the right way. I'm not saying I'm a saint or I'm perfect, but I'll rather have her thinking. I'd rather have her thinking that I'm one. That's what's most important. If that means mommy does it this way, I'm going to do it this way. If mommy lets people treat her that, why can't I let people treat me like that? So I practice what you preach. And if I'm preaching to her, I should be practicing too. Amen.
So we're talking, to a audience of, women and men. And let me see if there's any, and let me encourage, let me see, there's some comments. And Sister Willis says you're a very smart, aware young princess. Brother Malik says, dope show as always. Thank you, Brother Malik, and thank you for being a serious listener, and a serious supporter of our show. But what I'm saying is, you're talking to not only folks who are listening, but what I found what happens with these podcasts is that once I post them to different groups and we post them to YouTube, more and more people listen.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because they're an hour long, and most folks don't have an hour just to listen, but they'll listen to bits and pieces. So you have an opportunity to speak to young women, who are sisters, about their relationships, and also speak to mothers about how they treat their daughters and how they expose them to men in their life that they may be better off not knowing. So what would you say first to the young women out there who may be living a similar situation as yourself?
Stay strong. That's the most number one. Please stay strong. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But if you gotta what, even this guy here, most people tell me that I watch too many movies because the way I believe life should be, or how a guy should treat a female, or how families should live on. They say, you watch too many movies, but it's not true.
So you're on that happily ever after Lifetime.
No, it's
Lifetime
not about
channel
being happily ever after. It's about the world just being not dehumanized. Like we're people.
Better place
we're
than
supposed
this.
to be
Okay.
able to have the pursuit of happiness. So I would just say to never forget who you are and never lose yourself and always strive for the best. Like if you have a young one at home and if you have people telling you you can't, just take that that frustration and negativity and turn it into something positive. Like if you got to take a walk with your daughter and tell her about, like yesterday I took my daughter trick or treating and I just couldn't
And she had a gorgeous outfit on.
How you saw?
But what did she wear on top of that? 'Cause it was kind of chilly.
Oh, that just was for picture wise. When we went out, she wore a turtleneck under it.
Okay. I was saying, I know she ain't going on that.
Yeah. So.
What?
She was a garden fairy.
A garden fairy? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like a garden fairy.
Yeah. So basically, when I was just, right before I actually went out to take my daughter trick or treat, and I had an altercation with my mother, and it was just a bunch of yelling.
Keep your voice up.
Sorry about that. Right before I took my daughter out for trick or treating, I had an altercation with my mother. It was just about basically yelling, us bickering back and forth, and I was just trying to get her to see hey, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm not trying to call you my sisters, my own sisters that I love and care for. That if God forbid something happened to my mother, I would have them. Just trying to tell her hey, they're not telling the whole truth, so just get on it. But she was
so she blamed you instead of listening to you.
Yeah, on me. It was yeah, and I just
So some folks would say that's what you get for snitching.
No, it's not about snitching. She asked my sister right in front of her, was she lying? And she overheard me trying to get my sister hey, next time if she asks you, if you don't want to tell, just say you don't know. Don't just lie in her face. That's what happened.
Okay.
She overheard the conversation.
And she jumped on you.
Yeah, because she was like, well, what are you talking about?
You were just trying to school your little sister.
Yeah, she didn't walk away 5 minutes ago, but she must have overheard,
Okay.
So I just took my daughter out for trick or treat, and then it just made me realize that life is what you make it. I don't have to deal with it every day. Once I move forward with my life and be better for not just me but my daughter, you can build your own foundation. You can build your own family. Your life can be the way you want it to be. No, you don't gotta wake up and say, this is what life is. 'Cause that's what I thought for a long time. Hey, this is what it is. I'm arguing with my sister here. My mom's yelling at me there. Once you step out the door, you got the shoes on. You can walk wherever life takes you. We all come from different walks of life, and we all get it hard. Nobody has an easy life, So I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I'm 18. So you do the math.
All right. So let's explore that for a second. So you had a daughter when you were 16.
Yep.
How difficult was that? 16 is a young age to become a mother.
Believe it or not, it wasn't difficult. It was difficult as life went on. The moment I had it wasn't hard at all because, my life changed. Your life changed, but you just brought
Your life really changes because you now have somebody who you're responsible for 24 hours a day.
Yeah, you brought a beautiful person into the world, but it's you don't really start catching a wrath until your flashback, oh, this is what's going on. This is how being a young Black woman and coming from North Philly with a child, But when I had her, it was just I'm in a fairy tale. I just had an angel, but it was hard.
And did it get harder or did it get easier?
Harder every day. I mean, it's easier as far as me becoming stronger, me being a better parent, but it's it's an obstacle every single day. And you just become more closer to your child. You bond with the child. That's what matters. And they'll see the type of person you are, and you'll tend to inspire them. But it was just hard to trust people accepting you for that you have a child and you can't accommodate the way you used to. Being though as I was in school, I had my daughter April 24th. She was supposed to come May 2nd. And no, she's supposed to come May 4th. And I was maintaining all A's, and I went to Del Valle. The school is shut down now, but I went to Del Valle Charter. I was able to maintain all great grades, and I was on maternity leave. But I was supposed to go on maternity leave at the end of April, but when I went in labor, we was on our spring break. So I was really afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen to my grades and stuff because I'm they don't know that I just had to, I'm in the hospital. But everything worked out very well. I had 2 assignments left that after I had the baby and I was postpartum, they allowed me to come in and complete. And you think maybe people might be against you, but you get a lot of support even from people that you don't know. That's not your family and stuff. People actually
So Sister Rabia Green said, did you go back to school?
Yes, I'm still in school as today. I'm still trying to earn my high school diploma. I'm currently enrolled in Winbright Ray. It's on 4th and Lehigh, but that's the thing. The hard part of having a support system, because no matter what, you gotta have, like, you're gonna have a kid, no matter you're 18 or 50. A support system is something you're gonna need because that baby can't be by your side 25/8, no matter what. You're gonna have to have a job. You're gonna have to support you and your baby. And my job at that time was going to school. And after Del shut down, I was in 10th grade. I was going to Tech Fury Charter School in Bronx, Susquehanna for my 11th grade year. And I enrolled my daughter into daycare. She was about a small baby. And I chose not to breastfeed because I was like, I wanted to very bad, but I didn't want her to get too attached because I had to go to school. You know, that can be very, like, frustrating trying to run back home and, you know. So I put her on
breast milk and all that.
I put her on Similac sensitive. She had a acid reflux, so she was on special milk. And one day, I came to pick her up from school, and it was another baby bottle in her mouth. And I only brought my daughter Dr. Brown bottles. I know what some ladies don't hear. Y'all know what them Dr. Brown bottles are. That's the only bottle she had, and it was like a dollar store bottle in her mouth. And I wrote all her name on her bottles, and the daycare was like arguing me down about, you know, that was her bottle. I'm like, ma'am, I know my daughter's bottle. And I wasn't trying to cause any issues because I knew I had to bring my daughter back to that day. Then there was another incident where my mom went to go pick her up, and my mom came back and told me, like, hey, you know, they didn't even ask me for ID, and that was my mom's first time. And you're supposed to ask anybody, you know, for ID. So
you can't just assume that the person getting your baby is who they say they are.
Exactly. So my mom was concerned, like, they didn't even ask me for no identification, nothing. They just let me grab her. I could have been anybody. So from there, mind you, I'm a new mom at this. From there, I said, no daycare. And being though as my mom was the one that witnessed the daycare, she felt it in her heart, like, well, this is probably my chance to, hey, you go to school, I'll have her, because this until we find something better and let her get a little bit older, you know. That did not work out so well. That's what caused me to miss a lot of days of school. Like, say if my mom was mad, I didn't feel any, excuse me for my language, to kiss her ass, to watch my baby, so I'll just stay home with my child. And then I'll be back to school a couple of days, and my teachers, they will be frustrated because they're like, when you're here, you're killing it. You're getting all these good grades, but you got to be here to earn the grade. And I was barely there, so.
So, Sister Rabia, Amit Green said, if you need any additional support, I'd be happy to assist. This is a wonderful sister. I mean, I can, you know, attest to the fact, you know, the love she has in her heart, you know, for young people. Now, she lives out in Chester, you know, but she comes into Philly. She's good friends with Sister Rashida.
Oh,
you know, so she loves Rashida. So, you know, if you love Rashida, you have to love.
Well, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Rabia Ahmad Green.
Rabia, nice to meet you. I'm Akira.
But let me tell you, don't tell kids you're going to support them, you know, unless you're serious, because, you know, they get attached and they want to see you and all that, you know. So when you make a promise like that, you know, when you type them words out, but Sister Rabia is a sister of her word, and if she says she'd be happy to assist, trust me, she'd be happy to assist.
So basically, it was not like what everybody dream of. Like, I thought, like, no matter what, and being though as I was never the mommy type, I was always a great person. Like, you can ask me for anything, but if I babysit your kid, I know I can give them back. Like, I know I love kids, but I never thought I would have a kid at my age. So when I did, it was like I had to become a super mom. I was very independent. I did everything on my own, you know.
So let me ask you this: what would you say about the child's father?
Grow up.
So he's not really doing a good job being a father?
No, not at all. He was more of doing a better job of having me, you know, skip school and think I was in love when I was just young and dumb. But father, nah. But the thing about it is, look, this is what I mean when I say, you know, I would never expose my daughter to certain stuff. I would never bash, you know, her father in front of her. I would never tell her anything bad about him, because at the end of the day, that's still her father, and I never want her to be some routine or stuff that, like, oh, my father was in my life, you know. So the older she gets, she's not dumb at all. So she's gonna realize, hey, you're not really around. But I would never put that in her mind to, like, hate him, because she loves her father. I don't know what he has over her, but when he pops out of the blue and he be a dad for the day, she loves him.
Slow down for 1 second. You know, you should never think that just because he doesn't fulfill his responsibilities, that you know about. She don't know none of that.
That's what I'm saying.
She's 2 years old.
And I would never tell
All
her
she
that.
sees is daddy. That's real.
My daughter has great manners. My daughter knows who do for her. She knows how many times she say, thank you, daddy. And she knows how many times she say, thank you, mommy. Thank you, mommy. Mommy have this. Thank you, mommy. Okay, mommy.
Okay.
Mommy's here. She's been in daycare for a few months, and he hasn't been there. They don't know her father. They don't know a father figure.
So if he came to pick her up, they wouldn't even know him.
He's on the list, but it wouldn't be like, when they see me, they getting giant.
He'd have to show ID.
Yep. He'll have to bring out some ID.
So let me say this to all fathers.
And the day he goes to try to pick her up, I'm not even going to tell him he not ID. Because I want him to feel so small, and I want him to feel like an ass. That you got to show. I never got to show ID for my daughter. But you do. Go ahead.
This is a public service announcement to all young black fathers. If you got to show ID at your child's daycare center in order to pick your daughter or pick your son up, that means you're a sorry ass father.
Go change your lifestyle. That's all.
It's never
too late.
They need to know your face when you walk in the door.
Yep.
When you walk in the door, they need to start.
They know your routine. They know what time I came when I picked her up today. So you're early today. So yeah.
Yes, they need to start. Getting the book bag and the little clothes together. Because
they know daddy's about to come or mommy's about to come.
Yes.
They don't know daddy, and frankly, they never even ask. I don't know if they can ask me anything. I'm a very.
That's because they've seen it before. Understand.
Yeah. I'm not going to say how
Understand
take care
this.
of the address, but it's on Broad something.
Let me say this. Daycare centers, social workers, case managers, they've seen all this before. A lot of times they don't have to ask. If they only see you and they never see the father, or if they see you and they see your mother and they never see the father, they know that he's not active in their life. Yeah. Fathers who are fathers are active in the lives of their kids. They pick them up from daycare. They walk them to school.
Their responsibility, not when it's convenient.
They're responsible.
He's a father when it's convenient.
They aren't just there on birthdays. When she's sick. Yes.
When she needs to be rushed to the hospital. When she has an appointment. When I got to call out of work to be there where she's at. That's when you're a parent.
That's what it means to be a parent.
Choose between your phone bill or her pictures that she got to take at daycare. Thanks to you. He supports me. He just got a new car today. I'm gonna be whipping it like, I'm gonna be driving it like.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen. All that's in her mind.
I'm gonna get a copy of the key. I'm like, I'm gonna flash my license at the police officer when they try to stop me because I'm black. I'm like,
Then her daughter will be growing up motherless. Seriously, motherless. If I ever see you in the front seat of my car.
Probably this lasted for like about a long time. We gotta go. I gotta get my daughter in bed.
Well, go get your daughter. I'm done with you.
All right, thank you. Nice to meet you guys.
Say bye.
Nice to meet you, Rabia. You can add me. Does she has Instagram? I'm on Instagram.
Oh, she's
You can write
Sister Rabia.
I'm gonna write my name here on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook. Ikera.424. When you look it up, it's going to say Jaya's mommy. That's me. I'll follow you back.
Sister Rabia, you got Instagram? I'll tell you, most parents are on Facebook and the kids are on Instagram. But I like Instagram, Instagram is more photos and music and that sort of thing. So I really hope you folks have enjoyed the show tonight. It was a different show, but I think that if we're going to talk about relationships, we have to talk about all the relationships that exist in the Black community. And in our Black community, we have relationships that are good. We have relationships that are serious. We have relationships that are life-sustaining. Relationships that fulfill us as people, that help us to grow, move us forward as human beings. And we also have relationships that are toxic, that are hurtful, that are abusive, that stunt our growth, that hurt our heart, that injure our soul. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that if those are some of the relationships that you're experienced, that you need to defend yourself against that. You need to seek healing. So many times as Black people, we endure. We're the most long-suffering people on the planet. And we think that there's some virtue in that. The virtue is in taking care of yourself and those you love and moving through adversity. But there's no virtue in enduring pain and suffering without seeking healing from it, without seeking solutions, without seeking a way out. And if you're a mother dealing with a daughter, or if you're a daughter dealing with a mother, or if you are sisters who are trying to move forward in life and live your life in a way that is conducive to healing, to calmness, to serenity, to a good lifestyle, to a peaceful lifestyle, to a precious lifestyle. That's what we need to be looking at. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be saying, for me to grow, for my children, for my siblings, for my family to grow, we have to work our problems out. We have to make sure that things are going to be better. And that's one of the foundation stones, one of the cornerstones of this podcast. That as a Black family unit, we are doing the necessary things to move ourselves forward. I'd like to apologize to all the folks on WDUB Internet TV. We were supposed to be live on YouTube so that they could tune in. But unfortunately, my wonderful director had a major brain freeze today, and he didn't come through with the microphones and all the equipment. But trust me, tomorrow we're going to have a serious conversation, and our subsequent shows are going to be much more powerful, and we're going to be moving in a direction that is necessary for us to do what's right. But whether we have a full microphone set up or whether I'm doing this on my cell phone like we did at my father's house the other night, we are not going to miss shows. We are going to be here for you. We're going to discuss the things necessary to heal us as a community. This show is about community building. This is the TCRC Community Podcast. And on Monday and Wednesdays, we talk about the things in the community that are important to us. We talk about the news items, and we talk about the things that we need to do to move forward. Hold on one second. Excuse me in the back. Yes. Sometimes we the ghetto podcast too. That is what it is. And on Friday nights, we talk about relationships. And relationships are the foundations of family, and family is the foundations of community. And we're going to talk about all the relationships. We're going to talk about husbands and wives, girlfriends and boyfriends. We may talk about girlfriends and girlfriends and boyfriends, because that's another reality of our community. We are changing in the way that we view sexuality and the way that we are a part of community. But especially, we're going to talk about relationships between parents and children, because how we raise our children, how we mold them and move them forward determines what our community is going to be in the future. And we should always be thinking about the future. We should always be thinking about what's going to happen. Come here, baby. We talking about the future, and we talking about family. When we talk about family, we talk about little kids like this. Say hello.
Hello.
Say what your name is.
Jaya.
Your name is Jaya, yes. And are you glad to be here?
Yes.
Do you like the Healing Center?
Yes.
You want to come back?
Okay.
If you touch my computer, I'm going to cut your little fingers off. She knows better than that. But she'll mess up the podcast if I let her play with this computer board. So we're getting ready to say goodbye. Say goodbye. to all the folks who are so much a part of our life. We'd also like to thank all the folks who came out to the Zion Baptist Church tonight to talk to the mayor and Helen Gim and Care Gray and Deanna Hoskins. We'd like to thank Just Leadership for coming down and being a part of our community, being part of our North Philly community. And we'd like to thank all those who continually tune in because they love us and they're a part of us. Peace. As always, peace, power, and respect.